Okay. All right, guys. We all here?
A majority are back, so we can continue.
Okay, that's great. All right, welcome back, guys. I don't know what you guys heard or have learned so far, but a quick recap is for whatever business ideas you have, for whatever business you want to set up, and we're using the example of a donut. Somebody
Yes.
that wants to go into a donut business and the various stages that they are likely to go through. Not everybody starts from the same stage, but the three stages that I spoke about earlier are all likely stages that, depending on where you are, what your resources are, what your experience is, you are going to go through. All right. So there is a hobby kind of business that is driven by people's love and passion. So you realize that when people say, I'm so passionate about this, I love what I do, the business doesn't really become that big. As much as there's a need for passion and there's a need for love uh, for what you're doing, for the idea that you have, it's not really about you. Okay. But when you make it all about you, then that's a hobby kind of business. And you do it because you love it so much and you don't really focus on the money. And there are quite a number of and that's why you don't see that the business is growing, but they are so happy and excited doing it. And there's the business that is driven by opportunity, where people maybe they don't have a job or they want to go into a business of their own. So they look at what do people want? They identify a need, a problem, and then try to solve that problem. So it is not necessarily driven by something that they love or they are very interested in. It's mostly driven by what the problem is and what solutions they have for that problem. So their passion and love is driven by finding solution to problems or meeting people's needs. So that's the opportunity part. And then the third one is the investment-driven business that is purely powered by existence of a massive demand and then pouring out, money and resources to be able to maximize this opportunity to make money. So those are the three categories. And regardless of whatever your idea is, you would see its play in one or several of these categories. And I've taken you through the various stages where somebody was passionate about their recipe and started it. And then the demand was purely out of tasting, liking, referral. And then the growth was powered by referrals. There was no marketing, there was no promotion. And, it was just purely the love that people have for the recipe and then the final product. And then it keeps growing. All right. So then they tend to be busy and now they have to get into the nitty gritties of building a business. And that's when now it is moving from, oh, I love it, to really your target market, you are serving your target market is growing, your internal customers, which is your customers are also, which is your employees, are also happy and being served. Then you move it to the third phase where you're now expanding the business. And I already said that expansion comes when you have access to other people's business. Other people's money or resources or time or expertise. So that's where you grow your stuff. That's where you grow your finances. That's where you grow your factory. That's where you grow your reach. That's where you grow your marketing. Facebook has over 2 billion people on it, but they still market. They still advertise. They still do PR. They still do product awareness. They still do everything that even a small business does. Even with 2 billion people, over 2 billion people, bigger than the African continent, but they still do it. What that means is that, now they have all these people's money that they've collected that they need to still keep driving demand. Because now it's about making sure that there is consistent demand for which your products would be sought after. So when you get into the investment level of business or investment side of business, you need to now position the business to be able to attract other people's resources, other people's expertise, other people's money, other people's time, other people's attention. Because you need to now consistently expand the business that you're in. It's not just about love anymore. It's not just about opportunity anymore. It's about making sure that there is consistent demand and you are serving that demand faster, cheaper, and more efficiently than any other competitor out there. And that is what Amazon is using to stay ahead of the e-commerce business. They are always looking at how do we serve customers faster, how do we serve customers cheaper, and how do we provide quality products for customers. These are the three things that guides Amazon's growth. And that's why they are automating their fulfillment centers, they are automating their processes, they are automating their feedback, they are always, ensuring that their vendors are on point, and then, they keep going. So in the case of donuts, when you've automated the process, and now you can literally expand it across different regions, different countries, and it's the same thing being done everywhere else. Don't drive the growth by yourself. Because, sometimes when you're doing everything by yourself, you feel overwhelmed, even though you have people and all that. But bring in other people, bring in other people's money, bring in other people's resources, bring in other people's expertise. Because if you don't do that quickly enough, what will happen is that other people will start seeing. Remember, there are always people looking out for. And I told you in Africa, our primary market research is looking at what is moving. So they are looking at your donut business. They are seeing how you were doing it in your kitchen. And now you had a first shop. Right now you have a factory. You are expanding to another region. They see it. You are doing their market research for them. So they don't even need to hire people to check whether there is demand or not. As long as you are growing, that is the evidence of demand. So then now they start putting money. If it is not in your business, then they would now put money into competing business to compete with you. And that's why, as a business owner, don't be so closed in. Like you found something gold, so you want to just protect it yourself. Trust me. Do you know how much of Amazon shares Jeff Bezos owns? The last I checked, it wasn't even more than 15%. I don't know if that's gone up now. It wasn't more than that. The whole business of Amazon, the one that started it, does not own more than 20% of the total, assets of the business, the total valuation of the business, the total worth of the business. His shares in Amazon is not, in fact, let me even check so that I can show you why, if you intend to grow your business exponentially, you don't have to be overly protective of your shares. You have to expand it, because now what you're saying is that instead of setting up competing business with your finances, I'm opening up my business for investment. And that's why I tell people that if you have a good idea, it's not enough. You need to have a good business driven by demand. If you have a good business driven by demand, it's not enough. Automate the process. If you automate the process, now open it up for other people to benefit from this good thing that you have found. But a lot of the time, what do you see in African businesses? It's always closed in. They want to do a family business. They want to do small business. It's just them. It's just them. Before you realize, the key person that actually made all this thing happen dies, and the business dies. Okay? So, since we are doing a masterclass sort of, I just Googled, and you can check, Bezos still owns roughly 10% of Amazon stock, which is worth $90 billion US. Can you imagine that? This is one of the reasons why African businesses are not big, because we are so selfishly guarding almost nothing. And that's where the problem is. Jeff Bezos, multiple time wealthiest man in the world, owns only 10%. I was even giving him more. 10% of Amazon. And that is worth $90 billion. So what do you think the total worth of Amazon is? If 10 is 90, then total worth of Amazon is how much? 900 billion. Almost $1 trillion business. So this is why Africans are not able to build big businesses, because the world is using Africa as a test case. We are the biggest Silicon Valley in the world without the title and the benefit of it. And this is what breaks my heart. And unfortunately, our leaders are also not seeing that what they did with our natural resources is what they are doing with our human capital resources. And that's why you see all these programs happening everywhere in Africa. It is data mining. And it's a masterclass, so I don't care. Our resources is what they are doing to our human capital and our world of entrepreneurship. They are mining all the ideas and then going back just like raw material, refining it and bringing it back to us, because we have not been taught the process of building a business from a passion to an investment business. And that's where the challenge is, okay? So the donuts should not just remain a successful business. The vision of the donut business should be a conglomerate business, a multi-billion-dollar business. How do you do that? Automate the process, use other people's money, and grow rapidly. Okay? So this is one of the reasons why I am so passionate about Africa, private sector, and the young people. The world is making us look person, and you have a proven track record. If you have something that works, if you have investors to come and invest in your business, never. Because the moment you beg, the moment you go out there begging for all sorts of financing, what happens is that you are devaluing the worth of your business, and you are spreading the concepts that has already worked to everyone that already has money. When you watch the story of social networks, which is the story of Facebook, the guy was so fixated on perfecting the solution more than looking for investors. And at the point of their first meeting with a potential investor, it was the investor that actually sowed the seed of what Facebook already have, which is working. Anyway, guys, it's okay. Elena, please, next question. Before I get into my thing.
It is your thing that we called you for. It is your thing that we called you for.
No, but seriously, these are very, it's there. It's so glaring, but everybody is pretending as if we are not seeing it. This is what they are doing. We don't have a very thriving financial sector. We don't have enough. Government is not intentionally building indigenous global African business giants. And you see, because we don't have a thriving private sector finance, sector where we have all these investors, we have equity investors, we have venture capitalists, we don't have it. And most of the ones we are even seeing are still aid packaged as venture capital. As long as Africans are not investing in African business, we cannot own the African market. As long as Africans are not investing in African business, we cannot own the African market. And that's why African governments need to sit up and start putting money into African indigenous businesses with the aim of growing them beyond the countries that they are in. That is the only way of ensuring a thriving private sector and ownership of our economy. Without that, the bullfrog business will still remain a very small business with no market. And that's why African products don't have very good presence outside. It has to be an intentional PR that would ensure that there is consistent demand. African products only go out there for Africans. No, until the whites are patronizing what we do here, we are not going to capture their market. And those are the things, and we do it just for our taste. But yet we want to go into Europe, we want to go into US, we want to go into, no. So whatever you're doing, specifically the donut, just look at how you're going to automate it and create the environment where other people's businesses, other people's resources, other people's skills come in to rapidly grow the supply chain.
Okay.
Make sure that anybody that needs it gets it faster, better, and cheaper.
All right.
And realize that the business will be growing.
Okay. So far you've mentioned the first thing I captured is the types of businesses. You've mentioned about the hobby businesses and then the ones that have major investments. You also mentioned something critical that I think everybody should have written down, as I wrote it down, is that if you cannot automate it, you are going to have a problem with exponential growth. And then the demand drives competition. And so a lack of competition in an industry should give you an indication of the kind of demand that the market wants of the product. And then also you've mentioned that we should take care of our customers. Then you went into the 3-step process where you said once you start the business and you have a proven sales record, you have to have working systems that you can push through automation, and then you have to grow with other people's money. You can either grow with your clients' money or you can grow with investors. And that's where we went into the conversation about the availability of investment in Africa. So now we have a different business. And like I said, I have the recipe and my kitchen. And I've been doing it for my friends. And now my friends say I should, start a business. And because of peer pressure, I've started a business and I'm dealing mainly with referrals. Do I have a sales record? Yes, but it's a little bit, how will I say? It's a small sales record. Over the last 4 months, I have sold 200 buffets, mostly to my friends. I don't have a specific marketing team or marketing system in place yet. I'm still making buffets on demand, on order. So I don't really have like a specific volume of buffets I need to make a day and a specific sales I'm trying to push in a day. How will I be able to get from where I currently am to working systems? What are some of the steps I should take as an entrepreneur or business person to get to working systems?
Okay, thank you very much. And I believe that PBI is focused on building giant businesses, not just startups and small businesses. So most of the things I'll be sharing is towards how do we build the African global business. But I'll break it down so that everybody can relate to, regardless of where you are, whether idea phase, startup phase, or SME phase, okay? But the truth is, the moment you realize from your numbers, and this is where I'll stop and say another thing that I believe all of you should write down. Business is all about numbers. Business is all about numbers. When you talk too much about your business, it's an indication that your numbers are not good. That is why even people that have never stepped in the classroom can build very thriving, solid businesses that are doing well, because they may not know the big English we know, but they know their numbers. And Elinam and everybody here, you know some of the tribes that are very good with their numbers. And regardless of how bad their English is, their business is doing well. It's because of this fundamental truth about business. Business is all about numbers. In fact, if you ask me to give you a definition of business, I'll just tell you that it's about 2 things and 2 things alone: people and numbers. That's it. Everything else is just a lot of literature. If you cannot determine what your numbers are, if you cannot speak to your numbers, like you're saying, you see, when you were trying to give me the synopsis, you were giving me specific numbers, because that is the only indicator that your business is doing well or is not doing well. How many of these donuts have you sold? Over what period of time did you sell it? What quantities of raw materials did you put in? How long did it take you to produce this donut? Over what period did it take you from production to sales? All this is not about English words or it's not about English or words. It's all numbers. Every one of the questions I asked is about numbers. I don't even need you to explain. How long did it take you to produce this donut? 5 hours, numbers. How many donuts were you able to produce in 5 hours? 200 pieces, numbers. How many were sold over an hour? 3 pieces. So when you have these numbers, it's called data. You are able to actually determine the viability of your business. It's not words. Some of us talk too much. It is only an indication that you're not doing well. Any business person you meet that talks a lot is only because they are not doing well. And they want to be able to explain to you why they are not doing well. But if a business is doing well, the number speaks for itself. That is what I just want to throw in. Now, let's go to what you asked me. Now, when your numbers are speaking for themselves, what you need to do is what I said, automate the process. More importantly is make use of professionals. And this is one of the challenges that Africa also has. Culturally, we are very giving people. We are very, they call it hospitable, you know. If you need advice, there's somebody you can call. If you need counsel, there's somebody you can call. If you need a shoulder to cry on, there's somebody you can call. If you need just somebody to while away the time with, there's some, like Africa is so communal that we don't understand the value of professionals. Because even for me as a business consultant, sometimes people wonder like, but you're just coming to talk to me. You're just coming to train my employees. You're just coming to say something. Why are you charging so much? Because we don't value professionals and we don't value the service industry. It's all hardcore. And that's why Africa is still where we are. Because whilst the world is moving towards, you know, making everything service driven, we are still at the hardcore phase of, you know, so make sure that you use professionals. Listen, everybody that is in business is looking for viable clients that they can keep for a lifetime, because it costs more to get new clients than to maintain old clients and keep recycling them. Have that in mind. So when your numbers make sense, start working with professionals. What do I mean? Every business can be divided into 7 main functions. 7 main functions. Sometimes they divide it into 5 functions, but I have expanded it to 7, and I hope I can remember it offhand. 1 is operations, 2 is finance, 3 is HR, 4 is corporate governance and leadership, 5 is legal, 6 is technology and automation, and then 7 is marketing and sales. I hope I did well. These are the 7 units or categories of every business. Fundamental. You could have other parts of it, but they all fall under these 7. I hope I can remember them again. Finance, operations, HR, marketing and sales, leadership and governance, legal, and then technology and IT. Yes. So yeah, my mind is working. Now, whatever business you're running, put these 7 categories there and look for professionals or companies whose services are providing these services and start engaging them. The smartest way for any business to grow is not necessarily to engage the service of individual professionals, but to engage the service of companies that have already brought together professionals who can work for your business. Hear me. It is expensive to employ people, especially when the market is volatile and you cannot really project for too long. Work with companies who see your business as a viable business that they can benefit from when it experiences growth. So you just show them where you were and where you have come from and what you need from them. I'll give you a typical example. In the area of finance, make sure that you open a corporate account and you harass your bankers from the beginning. We don't use the bank enough. The bank's business is to trade money. So the bank is always excited to put in resources, professionals, and support to any business that has the potential of giving them money to trade. So if your numbers make sense, regardless of how small, as long as you've been able to sell 200 breadfruits in 1 hour, that is a testament of viability of your idea. Go to the bank and start engaging them now. Tell them that, listen, 200 breadfruits were sold in 1 hour. Imagine how many breadfruits I'll sell in 10 hours when you come on board. and start working with them, because they understand one thing and one thing only: numbers. They may not understand your bull business. They may not understand the sector that you are in. They may not even understand the market, but they only understand one language: money. And if you're a business person and you want to make money, who is the best professional to work with? People that trade money. So go to your bankers and sit them down and tell them, listen, you want to grow a big business. These are your numbers. You want to partner them to work together to grow these numbers, because at the end, they will benefit and you will benefit. Work with professionals. Go and sit with an accounting firm and then tell them that these are your numbers, but you need to build an automated financial system that can attract an investment of no less than $10 million in the space of 5 years. Who would not be excited? Even the lady sitting in that room would admire you. You see, you don't have to have the money before you become admirable. Speak it. And before you realize, it is becoming your reality. And these are things that we don't teach. And I'm so happy that PBI, and all these organizations are giving us a platform to be able to teach these things. Work with professionals, work with professional institutions from the beginning when you can show traction, because they need you. And if it's a company, they won't easily ignore you if like an individual will ignore you, because an individual professional is already a hustler. So they are already in the market for people who can afford them. But a company wants to grow with you. So then when you show them what your numbers currently are, they will do what we call a projection. That's why you have to do a 3-year projection. You have to do a 5-year projection and show them, because the decision they make to work with you is not based on your current, but your projected. Okay, so work with professionals and let them help you with all the 7 categories of your business. From legal, go and see a legal company, because when you engage professionals, they don't charge you from the beginning. They will listen to you, and then they will determine whether or not by your projected numbers, you are a viable business to work with. And that's how you engage professionals without even paying a dime. You see? So you take legal, you get a company, a law firm. You take finance, you get an accounting firm, you get an auditing firm. If you get an accounting and auditing together, that's beautiful. Then you get a banking. You can even get investors, venture capital. Engage them now that you don't need them. Because by the time you need them, they would have built a relationship. Because you see, things move quickly in business because of relationship. I'll come there later. So all the 7 categories I mentioned, start finding companies or professionals. And that's why your board of directors are your first access to professionals that you need. And you don't just choose family and friends. You are intentional about the people you are selecting to be on your board, because you want to use them for the benefits and the growth of your business. Don't even hide it. Because when the business becomes successful, everybody benefits. So don't be timid about it. It's business. It's not, we are not coming here to joke. All right. So when you use these professionals based on these 7 categories, you realize that even the way you think, the way you go about your business, how people hold you accountable, because now they are invested in your business. They have a sense of ownership. So they want you to succeed. And that's how you grow a business, regardless of which industry you're in. Be professional, use professionals, automate your process, and then create the avenue where you can use other people's money and resources.
Ekow! Oh, goodness. Oh, my goodness. Be professional, use professionals, automate your services. Ekow, what other question can I ask you? What other question can I ask you? Because you have taken it from the beginning to the end. You have told us the kind of businesses that are available. You have told us how to grow. You have told us how to identify whether or not there's demand for our product. You have told us that we should take care of our businesses. You have told us that business is about numbers. Let's talk more facts. You have told us that these 7 areas of business is what we need to engage with, especially what you said about the bankers. I have never thought about it, and I think it is a fantastic fact that everybody should remember. It is difficult going to a new bank with old records, but it is very interesting growing with a relationship manager. So you start your business and they give you a relationship manager. Just from what Ekow has mentioned now, I'm just going through it. And imagine having these conversations with your relationship manager, letting them see that you are going from 1 customer to 2 customers in less than 2 hours, from those 2 customers to 20 customers by the end of the week. They will see the potential. So now they will understand when you are talking about the business and you don't have to do so to get the bank on your side. And then dealing with professionals, the thing you said about the board of directors, as for that one, it's something that I live by. Your board of directors is like your business mentors. Apart from that, they are also your opening to the market. So what Ekow said is critical. Select the right board of directors. Yes, you don't have money, you're a startup, but you can afford to pay them every quarter. Something small, take them to dinner every quarter. You can do something like that and it will be useful. So Ekow, like I said, this is our Beaufort business. You have shown us that number 1, let us start first, get your sales record, and then find ways to automate those systems. Either you automate the making of the dough or the frying, or however you automate it, you automate those systems so you can grow. And you can either use money from your clients to grow the business, or you can get investors to grow the business. And if you want to take that Beaufort business seriously and you want to expand it, put money in your operations, talk to operations experts who can automate food business and grow it. Put money into talking to accountants and finance people who can tell you how to turn the revenue you're getting from your customers into investment. Put money into HR so that the people you employ to run the automated systems are doing the best they can to make sure your dream comes to life. Make sure you as a leader, you are learning and you're putting money into your corporate governance, which is where he talked about the board of directors. And then put money in legal because it's food. Somebody can sue you for food poisoning. Make sure you have your documents intact and you can go to FDA and get all your certifications and all those things. That's what legal does for you. And then IT and tech. Oh yeah, marketing the company. Where do you think you are going to be marketing from? Technology, obviously, because nowadays we have digital marketing and technology. And also even in automating your systems, you can automate your finances, you can automate your payments, you can automate your deliveries, you can automate your communication with customers. And then finally put money into sales and marketing. Get sales and marketing representatives to give you advice on how to boost the product that you have created. We have been talking to Ekow today, and I just gave you a rundown of everything that he said in the order that he said it. Get your notebooks when we are talking to people because writing them down is important. Ekow, thank you for the clap. Thank you for the clap. Thank you. If you have any questions or any contributions, this is the time to bring it in. And otherwise, I will hand over back to Ekow to round up for us with a question on something he said last week. Just give me a minute to pull the question up. If you have a question, please raise your hand and I will see it. And
there's a question. I don't know whether it's a question, but I think it's a contribution. Please, when I talk about automation, I'm not talking about just machinery. When you get it to machinery stage is good because those ones demand investment. But even knowing exactly the dough you have to use, like for every unit of Beaufort you do, how much dough goes into it, how much flour, how much egg, how much, African dishes, we do it because it's institutional memory, but we don't do it because it is structured. So as part of automation, you need to have your ingredients, you need to write out your recipe so that even in your absence, anybody can do it. The only thing left is your secret ingredient, which is what Coke does. So they have a component of Coke, which is a secret ingredient limited to just a few people in the entire world. So that is your value proposition. That is what makes you different. That is what makes your donut taste different. And that's all part of automation. So it's not just about the machinery, but even before you get the machinery works with knowing what your ingredients are, and going through the process. So that's just a little clarification I want to give to what I am talking about.
Jedediah. Okay. Thank you, Jedediah. As usual, thank you so much for contributing. So Ekow, your final question is on something you said last week about having a relentless focus on people service. Connecting this to our donut business, how will you break down having a relentless focus on people service in growing our donut business?
I mean, donuts is primarily eaten by human beings, right? So knowing who loves your donuts, getting feedback to consistently improve to meet their expectation, and ensuring that they are consistently loving and consuming your donuts should be at the top of whatever you do in business. Because the truth is, when you're able to figure out how best to go about this donut, you can outsource the production of the donuts. You can literally outsource the entire kitchen, outsource the entire factory to people. Okay, so you don't need to focus necessarily so much on the production or the development of the product, because the product can actually even change. The donuts can evolve, but the people that are patronizing are the people that you need to focus on, because even when the times and seasons change, when the product changes, the people are the people that you would depend on to also consistently be in business. So focusing on the people and serving them is even more important than focusing on the product and making sure that you are actually the most well-branded business in the world. People determine the growth of your business. So then if your focus is on serving them and making them happy, there's no way your business is not going to continuously grow. And that's what I have to say. I don't know if we'll come back, but well, if we don't come back, I hope you've learned something. And God bless you all and everything else you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ekow. Thank you very much. And this time we won't go off because we have changed the plan. You understand? We did some magic at the background. So if you have any questions, please raise your hand.